then what does that mean? So if the S&P goes higher, usually it means that the S&P is going lower, right? Like, for example, the normal narrative would be this one here, right? The normal narrative would be that one there. There's a big drop in the PREM and it's a big drop in the futures. That would be normal. This is abnormal, correct? This is completely and utterly abnormal for this to happen, right? So for that to be abnormal, what actually did happen there, considering the size of it? Well, what you would imagine, and it wasn't just the size, by the way, there was the volume in it as well, right? If you look at the volume in that candle at 1450, there's huge volume for a 1 second candle. So what actually happened here, there must have been, now you can't tell with 100% certainty because obviously it's just a scenario, but the highly probable scenario is that there's a large stock sell program kicked off and they actually took a hedge on the S&P futures trade at that stage. So what might have happened is it might not have been in the actual stock market, it might have been in the options market. Somebody sold, you know, somebody got short in the options market, maybe bought a huge put, and then the actual person that took it hedged it by buying S&P futures. So the S&P futures went up against the PREM going down, and that obviously gave you a, well, what the hell was that then kind of moment, right? So when I see a trade like that, I'm automatically thinking sell side only at 24s, and whilst it didn't go down by much, it still went down to a price of 10s. Still went down to a price of 10s. You were still able to make a fairly reasonable profit from that bit of business. Fairly reasonable profit, guys, from that bit of business. It's not bad. 24s to 10s, 14 points, $280. How long did it take you? 40 seconds. 40 seconds to get that money, guys. Crazy, 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 crazy. We love it. We love it. We love it long time. It seems to be more and more sell programs at the top edge again. Do you see that? What happened on the S&P? Take a look. Or sorry, what happened in the NASDAQ? Look. What's unusual about this NASDAQ here, guys? What's unusual? Why am I thinking there's a couple of sell programs coming into the stock market again? What is it you're seeing that would tell you there's a couple of sell programs coming into the stock market? Who properly understands the PREM here, guys? Who's getting this? Who understands this from the classroom? Focus on the individual candles. Would you agree with me? Would you agree with me? I'm glad 2 people took a punt on it. Would you agree with me that these are in line with what you would expect? Would you agree with that? They're in line with what you would expect. So what's the trade? No, there isn't a trade, right? There's no particular trade. But what isn't in line with what you would expect? The one thing that's not in line would have been that candle there, and probably that candle there, right? That should have been a lot bigger. And then following those 2 candles, what about that candle there? Is that not something you're looking at and making a mental note of, Sebastian? What do you think? Is that not something you're looking at and saying, wait a second, there's a sell program coming into the stock market here? So what I'm seeing is, from what I'm seeing a sell program coming into the stock market. Not the futures market, the stock market. So I'm starting to see a sell program in this area. So my feeling is I should be thinking about getting short away from this area. Does that make sense? What happened? Well, that's what's happened. It's on the right-hand edge, guys. Was that sell program correct? Were we right to see that sell program, yes or no? You see that, Subra? Were we right to make that assumption about that sale program? Absolutely spot on, right? It wasn't just one candle that gave us that story, was it? It was 3 candles. We started to see the 3 candles. When we should have seen big up candles, we saw no candle. So if that means that there's no candle, the stock market must be getting sold, right? The stock market must be getting sold, yes? How can you have a PREM going higher when the futures isn't going higher? The stocks must be getting sold. There must be sell programs in the underlying stocks. Well, if there's sell programs coming in the underlying stocks, guys, this is a sell program area. We know that this, therefore, is a stock sell program area. So I try and work short from that area now. Yeah. I try, as soon as I've seen that 3 times, I mean, I'm saying 3 times, but 4 times, 5 times, 2 times, just anything more than once would give us some confidence that we're seeing the right thing at the right price, yeah? Just that little bit of confidence. Sale program kicks in, takes us back into the buy side program here from the futures, and obviously a walk away trade. If you took that sale at 70s, you've just traded 40s, you've made 30 points, you've made $600. It's taken you 30 seconds, guys. $600, 30 seconds. Knowledge really is power, isn't it? Think about the fact that you've never ever heard this before. Think about the fact that nobody in the retail space knows this, because nobody in the retail space has ever done these bloody programs, but we have. So that's why we're able to tell you about this type of information. We're able to show you that's what this means. You can't be 100% because unless you're in the stock market itself doing the program, you don't know. But what you do know is that's what it bloody well looks like. There's a footprint to that algorithm, isn't there? If I get a very large PREM with a very small candle, relative terms, very small candle, then you've got to say to yourself, there's a big stock sell program coming in here, guys. I'd far rather trade stock sell programs than future sell programs, because future sell programs have already sold, you know what I mean? So I'd far rather trade the stock sell programs when the futures hasn't sold yet. Do you know, see how that's completely different from anything else anybody's ever told you? So we get a stock sell program, and we obviously got a very, very nice sell-off from that stock sell program. Look at that, guys. It top ticked the price. It top ticked the stock market. It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Top ticked the stock market, guys. Boom. Measured move. Measured move to the bracket lows. And there's your profit take right there, guys. There's your profit take if you were doing measures. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. So top edge sells at 70. It's just exited at 0. That's a $1,400 per contract sell-off. And it's taken you about 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes to make $1,400 right there. Do you think you could pass your combine if you had that information and you just traded the stock sell programs? Do you think you could pass your combine with an almost 0 level of stops without having to run 10 ticks, 20 tick stops on your combine? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you've got to say, well, that's the one I'm going to start working on. That's the setup I'm going to start working on. That's the idea. I'm not saying that is the idea, by the way. I'm not saying that that's the setup you've got to work on. But what I'm saying is it's a damn good setup. And what you're seeing is you're seeing the PREM make higher highs, spike highs, and the price not moving. That means there's a sell program coming in on the stocks. That's a powerful, powerful piece of information, guys. The individual candle is more important than the overall picture. So when you see individual candles, for example, if I saw an individual candle that size, for example there, and I saw an individual candle that size, for example, there, look at the size of those candles. Now, there should be no big upside in the PREM on those, should there? It's only one tick wide, really. There should be no big upticks on the PREM. There wasn't. So that's correct. That's exactly correct, right? When we get a big uptick in the PREM, that's the kind of candle you should see. When we get a big downtick on the PREM, that's the kind of candle you should see. But they've already been traded. You understand? Those trades have already been traded. So where's your opportunity? Well, your opportunity would actually to be buying stocks, selling stocks. Well, unless you're going to buy a massive basket of stocks, then you're not going to take that trade, right? What you're looking for is when that doesn't stack up. So this candle here is accurate. That candle there is accurate, yeah? So what you're looking for is when the candles aren't accurate. Well, there's a possible couple of candles, but I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough because it kind of forms one big candle, doesn't it? So it's 2 seconds, one big candle. I don't think it's good enough, but you could have been starting to consider, wait a second, this is getting shorter and shorter here. Now, it should be in the right place. Remember, stock buy program should be coming off a bottom edge and stock sell program should be coming off a top edge. So that's what you're obviously starting to think. You're starting to look for those ideas. If the candle's too big, the candle's not going to be an opportunity, is it? You know, you've got to watch because sometimes they do combine into more than single candles. You know, the ones that make it dead easy for you is when we get a single big spike, and we get no movement. Well, that big spike there, it's not that big, and the candle's probably relative value about the right size. So we're not really getting much information there. That spike there probably looks okay, doesn't it? Probably looks okay. That looks okay. That looks okay. That looks okay. That looks okay. So you can start seeing that you're not always going to see this information, are you? You're not always going to get these types of pieces of information. No, not really. Maybe this one? Yeah, it's kind of average, isn't it? Kind of average. Not this one either. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Not that one. And remember, one is not a story. But we didn't get one, did we? We didn't have one that last time. We didn't have a single one up here. We had how many? You see what we're starting to see now, guys? Are you starting to see it? Look at the size of that single spike and look at the size of that candle. It's tiny. Look at this. Well, we said that spike there, but you get the basic idea, right? Big spike back up to the top edge, tiny. You can see a big spike here. Look at that simple little spinner candle right there. Look at that, guys. You see what's happening? It's not just one candle that tells you this story. There's another reasonable spike there. Single candle spike. It's quite a small candle though, isn't it? So you're starting to think to yourself, wait just a second here. That's not right. That is not right. That should not be happening. And the price should be going easily higher during that period. This is a stock sell program that's kicking off here. And that's why we marked that as a stock sell program. And obviously subsequent to that, you've seen what happened after we discussed that stock sell program. There was an enormous sell-off. And eventually it traded down at 170s from 270s, guys. Eventually it was a $2,000 per contract sell. Eventually $2,000 per contract. When you think about that, that was 9 minutes. 9 minutes of seeing that trader, you could have made potentially $2,000. That's pretty good, guys. That's pretty hot stuff, isn't it? That's pretty hot property.